Hello, peoples. Today I am going to be reviewing the Yellow Park Scourge, which is quite the interesting thing. So, first of all, let's take a look at the packaging. Here we have Scourge, the inaccurate CGI render because it's based on concept art. On either side you have this, and that's on both sides, and on top and bottom you have Transformers Rise of the Beasts. On the back, we have some product shots of Scourge, a bunch of text, both in American and what I'm assuming is either Japanese or Chinese, probably Chinese. Got a bunch of product shots, a quick overview of the build. Speaking of the and social media links up here. Speaking of the build, let's get to it. So, I have played with this guy. He arrived yesterday. So I have played with this guy. I have built him, but I disassembled him so that way I can reassemble him for the sake of the video. So, you got your instruction manual here, which opens up to reveal instructions. And then you got all the main parts of Scourge, and then the accessories and smaller parts. So, the build itself is not that difficult. The instructions are very good at being clear on how it is supposed to go. And he's even packaged in such a way where you can kind of tell how the assembly process is meant to go. But I'm going to stop talking so that way I can speed up this footage, because I'm sure you guys don't want to watch me build this thing. If you do want to watch me build this thing, leave it down in the comments, and I will make a video exclusively of the build. So, one last thing. You might have noticed that I did not disassemble the right arm because this hand is very difficult to get out. So I'm going to stop talking so we can get down to the build. Alright, here we have YOLO Park Scourge, fully constructimacated, and before I start, I'm just going to say I'm not going to do size comparisons because I have no other YOLO Park products, and this guy's out of scale with literally everything. However, he is large, like large. He tall. He is a tall boy. And these things are about Voyager price, so that's pretty nice. Let's pick up the phone and take a look at the closer detail. Head sculpt, absolutely amazing. You can just barely see the eyes in there, shining there. Nice color. And then you got all this detail down here. You got the hand and the claw. Even turning him around to the back, he has a really nice spine detail. So, mechanical detail on this thing is crazy. So these things exchange transformation for accuracy, which this guy definitely has, and articulation, which, oh boy, he has a lot of articulation. So let's just get right into it. Head is on a ball joint at the base and a ball joint at the top, so he can look up all the way. He can look down all the way. The mouth can open, however, it is kind of hard to get at, but it can open. Shoulders can pull a full 360. They can go in and out. They are on a butterfly joint. There is a bicep swivel, a double bend at the elbow, which allows it to bend all of the way. Now for the hands. So the claw side, there's 2 joints on each prong of the claw, which means you can get very expressive with it, and the claw itself can spin, which does cause for some problems, which we will talk about later, but claw can spin. Now for the actual hand, this is crazy. So there's a ball joint at the wrist, and note, this is very difficult to get on. You really got to push it. And then there is a hinge joint at the thumb, and a hinge joint at every single finger. They are individually articulated, which means, yes, you can do a certain hand gesture that I will not show on this video because I like to imagine my videos are family friendly. So next, then you get a slight arcing back and an ab crunch. It can rock side to side and rotate slightly. But then you get the waist joint, which can rotate left to right. The hips. So the hips are built pretty cool. So they can kick forward about that far, back about that far, and out a little bit. And that's pretty articulated as is. But these are on drop-down hinges. So there's a joint in there, which allows that to shift down and kick all the way up, all the way back. And if you shift this back a little, it can go out to 90. There is a thigh rotation. You lift this panel up. There is not only a single bend at the knee, a double bend at the knee, but a triple bend. However, this other bend is very slight. It's still there. And when you bend the knee, this piston shifts downward, which is really cool. Now for the feet, these swivel, they can pivot. This panel up here shifts to allow the foot to hinge forward. This panel shifts to allow the foot to hinge backwards. And finally, there is, in fact, a toe bend. So articulation on this piece is absolutely crazy. You can get him into pretty much any pose you would want him to be in, including replicating poses from... Not only can you replicate poses from the movie, you can also do your own poses, which is really cool. So now, let us go into accessories, and the first accessory is we are going to do ours weapons. He comes with 2 weapons and 1 other accessory, which we will talk about last. So his first weapon is his energized blade, which looks really good. It doesn't have that kind of orange pulsating effect, but the whole point of model kit is supposed to do it yourself, so if you wanted to paint that, there's a tab here, which goes into a big old slot on the back of his arm. It's much easier to see in person. And there you go. There is Scourge with his battle blade. But now he needs long-ranged weaponry. So we now have his EMP blaster. Now, this is where the problem with the rotating claw comes in. So the rotational piece and the connector piece are on two different pieces. The rotational piece is connected to the connector piece with a pin. So if you get the claw in all the way and try to pull it out, that happens. The connector piece stays in, and the claw and the pin come out. So that is why I have a pair of pliers here, so I can grab that port and kind of wiggle it until eventually comes right out. As far as I can tell, I'm not really severely damaging this connector piece, but you gotta do what you gotta do. So then you just reconnect it with the claw, which getting the pin in there, it can sometimes be a bit difficult for me, but you want to just shove the pin into the hole and push, and boom, you have a fully reassembled claw. So now, with the claw gone, we can integrate the EMP blaster. So you got these claws on the EMP that can open. So you peg that in, collapse the claws to your choosing, and boom. There you have Scourge with his EMP blaster. And one more accessory Scourge comes with is this thing. And you may be wondering to yourself, what is this thing? Well, it is Scourge's face, because the mask is indeed removable. It's just, you gotta be careful, just wiggle it off, and boom. Now then, let's do the face reveal later, so we can take a look at his mask, which looks absolutely gorgeous. It's just, oh my god, there's scratches, all that fun stuff. So then, now, there's Scourge's face. And as you can see, it's got a giant hole in the top for where the mask pegs in. So you can then remove the face, which I find this is the easiest way to get at the mouth articulation. So you remove this face and replace it with this face without a hole in it. And I find maskless Scourge the easiest to manipulate the jaw with, but I usually just keep it closed. And there you go. There's maskless Scourge. So if you wanted to display this guy kind of holding his mask, glancing at it. So this is a pose. I'm going to show you guys a pose that I like to do with this figure a lot. Because in the movie, when Mirage kicks his mask off his face, he grabs it off the floor and glances at it. And then he turns, show his face, and is like, "No one will remember this pathetic planet, and no one will remember you." And then proceeds to shoot Noah. So you can have him hold the mask, and you can get him into pretty much any pose you want him to be in, which is amazing, because this is like a model kit. That's the whole point. You're supposed to be able to pose it. You can pose this guy out in literally any way you want. Do I recommend it? Absolutely. If you need a Scourge, if you need a Rise of the Beast Scourge for your collection, get this. That is the exact reason why I got this thing, to get a Rise of the Beast Scourge into the collection, because I knew that I wasn't going to get the Studio Series, whether it was available to me or not, because that's inaccurate. And this is the most accurate version of Rise of the Beast Scourge, and not only that, it is also incredibly incredibly posable. So do I recommend it? Absolutely. You can find it on Amazon. You can find it on the YOLO Park website. There are a lot of popular YouTubers like That Toy Guy and Prime vs. Prime have their own kind of um, codes for YOLO Park. So you put those in. Like if you put the codes in for those, you'll get like a 5% off. I'm doing free advertising for channels with hundreds of thousands of subscribers, and I have 49. I'm almost at 50 subs. I'm almost at 50 subs, people. We're almost there. So if you want to help me reach that goal, subscribe. You can help me reach 50 subs, and subscribing does really help me get onto the platform with all of the other creators out there. The more subscribers you have, the more the algorithm pushes. Otherwise, or to put it simply, if funny number is big, you become more known. That's the simplest way to put it. Funny number big equal more known. So I will see you all in the next video. Bye. Time to turn off the lights. Come on.